You guys probably know that I covered the Baltimore Orioles for the Washington Post back when Washington, D.C. had no team, and we tried to pretend we sort of half had a team. So I covered home games, but not away games. If I'm known for anything else, I think they must have just stamped on the cup there. If I'm known for anything else, it's for writing books about Sandy Koufax and Mickey Mantle. That is up until now. What you don't know about me is that I now hold a major league record, which is for having spent most consecutive nights alone with Babe Ruth. More than either of his wives. He could escape them, but he couldn't escape me. And that's because it took 8 years to write this book. I kid you not. I was young when I started this. It was, to say the least, a labor of love. Before I even agreed to write the book, I spent a year reading everything else that had been done and all the books that you guys know. Bob Creamer's book, which was published in '75, Marshall Smelser's book, which was published a year later, Cal Wagenheimer's book, which is also '74, '75, Robert Smith's book, Lee Montville's book, and because I knew the first question that people were going to ask me was the one that I asked myself. Why another Babe Ruth book? What is there possibly left to say? Well, what I discovered by reading all those was that the little boy that his family called Little George was completely absent from those pages. Lee Montville, in frustration, actually resorted to writing a hypothetical childhood in italics because you just couldn't get at it. And when a reporter can't get at something, two things happen. One, you become determined to find it, and the second is you say to yourself, there's a reason nobody knows this. There's something, there's a secret here. It isn't just bad reporting, it isn't just luck or lack of luck. There's usually a reason when something is that significant is missing from a biography. Now, sports writers can get away with that for many decades, because as Mickey Mantle used to say to me, you know, most of the sports writing was what he called that Jack Armstrong shit. But you couldn't have gotten away in the United States of America or any other English-speaking country with writing a biography of, say, Winston Churchill or Franklin D. Roosevelt and not having anything about the first 20 years of that person's life, which is what you faced when starting with the Babe. So I said to myself, if there's something that I can do, there's something that is missing, it's to find the connection between Little George and the guy who became known as the Big Fella. He was actually named that by Casey Stengel during a game played here. We're right near that ballpark, right? We're on that ballpark? David.
Yes.
We're right on the ballpark where Casey Stengel played against Babe Ruth, right?
Right here, yeah.
That's right
Park.
there.
Yep.
Okay. And he started calling him then the Big Feller because he was Casey Stengel. Anyway, what you do when you write a biography of somebody who's been dead as many years as Babe Ruth, you make a list of all the people you can't talk to because they are presently dead, as Casey would have said. And then you make a list of all the people that you have to talk to, and needless to say, cynical as this may sound, you start with the oldest ones. So the first person I went to speak to was Julia Ruth Stevens. And this was in the summer of 2011, so I'm not kidding, I really did work on it that long. And Julia was then about 95 or 96 years old, as you guys probably know. She's alive at age 102, now living in an assisted living place near her son Tom in Nevada. And apropos of absolutely nothing, it's not like I had some magic question, you know. Apropos of nothing that I can remember asking, Julia Ruth Stevens said to me suddenly, well, you do know that George Sr. and Katie were separated. And I went, no. No, I did not know that. She said, well, I just thought everybody knew. Well, of course, nobody knew. And nobody knew because Babe Ruth didn't want anybody to know. And in fact, after I found this jaw-dropping piece of information, I went to one of his granddaughters, Donna, who was one of his daughter Dorothy's many children. And I said to Donna, Julia told me the strangest thing. She said that George and Kate were separated. She said, oh no, they weren't separated, they were divorced. And the light went on. You know, we were all of the same generation. And remember we used to have those kaleidoscopes where you turn it and all the little pieces of colored plastic or whatever, suddenly a pattern would emerge. And I suddenly went, there's a reason why this was all missing. Babe Ruth didn't want anybody to know. And there's a reason that the other biographers who preceded me, all of them contributed something really important to his life story and the portrayal of his career, couldn't get at. History's being rewritten every day. And people, the things we all thought we knew and that were rock solid turn out not to be. And the reason that it's being rewritten every day is because the digital revolution has made, a lot of you guys who write for SABR probably know all this already, but the availability of digital information, such as old newspapers, local newspapers, family records, divorce records, arrest records, illegitimate children records, miscarriages, births, deaths, whatever. It's all online now. So all this enterprising reporter had to do was type in George Ruth Sr., V. That was my big contribution to this, V, Katie Ruth. And up pops in the Maryland State Archives the entire divorce portfolio, for lack of a better word, of George and Katie Ruth. Now there's another guy who's not here today, unfortunately, Fred Schocken, who's a great researcher and who helped me enormously, as did Dave Stinson over there, who had been researching on parallel grounds after I published my story in Grantland about Julia and this news that George and Kate had been divorced. And we kind of combined forces and found documents showing the testimony in their divorce, which was horrible. Most of it's reprinted in the book. It had the arrest records of Katie Ruth. It had the depositions from George Sr. telling how he had his wife and the guy he found her with on the, quote, dining room floor, and what he had to say about her as a mother. What he had to say about her as a mother is, well, I guess she was all right when she wasn't drunk. Kate, who had always been described as sickly and fragile, was an alcoholic, it turns out. As was Babe Ruth's paternal grandfather, who died of cirrhosis of the liver. So drinking was part of the culture in his family and part of the DNA in his family. So he said, no, she was okay when she wasn't drunk, but she was always drunk. And he said, well, she's lousy and the kids are lousy. And despite that, he was awarded custody. When he got the divorce from Kate in May 1906, he was awarded custody of the 3 surviving children of that marriage. George Jr., Mamie, who was 6 years younger, and who was the only one of his siblings to survive into adulthood. And there was a little boy alive at that time named William E. And William E. would die alone in a sanitarium for kids sick with abdominal distress outside of Baltimore. That was set up as a place to take care of kids who had no parents or anybody to take care of them. There's no evidence that either of his parents were with him when he died. And George Sr.'s brother, William, for whom the child was named, actually signed the death certificate. All of these details are things that I was able to find in records and documents thanks to the Maryland State Archives. Bob Creamer, Cal Wagenheim, Marshall Smeltzer, Robert Smith, et al. Couldn't fill in these 20 years because they didn't have access to the material that I was able to get by pushing on a mouse. So when I started the book, thinking there was nothing new, and there was never any way to find anything new, it turned out that the disadvantage that I expected to have didn't exist at all. And so the challenge was to say, well, it was almost as if he appeared Deus Ex Machina out of St. Mary's at age 19. There's nothing recorded. And so I spent the first 2 years of this book filling in the first 20 years of his life.